You may be hearing a lot from the nuclear industry soon. It is promoting the myth that nuclear power is carbon-free. They claim that it can help solve global warming. They say that nuclear power is a CO2-free, greenhouse gas-free power source. Nothing could be farther from the truth, but they are using this cover to promote sales of supersized nuclear reactors to American ratepayers and taxpayers. The nuclear industry has already arranged billions in subsidies from our Congress using this false information. Long before a reactor is built and running, substantial amounts of coal and oil are consumed. It takes 20 steps to produce nuclear energy, and 18 of those 20 steps require fossil fuel to get the processed uranium to produce electricity. Mining of the uranium requires energy from oil. The milling of that ore also requires oil. It is made into a gas using oil. Enriching the fuel takes mostly coal energy. It is then converted back into a solid using oil. Fabricating the fuel for loading into the reactor takes oil. Construction of a nuclear plant requires enormous quantities of steel and cement, which use oil energy. The waste problems have not been solved, but spent nuclear fuel will take dilution with materials like cement made with oil energy. And in the end, an old radioactive nuclear plant will take oil energy as it is dismantled, pulverized, and tombed with a cement-like material. Whew. So obviously, nuclear energy consumes large amounts of fossil fuels. But the nuclear industry now is also claiming that nuclear power is cheap. Originally, the industry claimed that nuclear power would be too cheap to meter. Now the industry is famous for its cost overruns and plants that were never finished because of high construction costs. But by using outdated 1980s figures, not even adding in inflation, the industry is lowballing the costs of new nuclear plants. And nuclear power cost escalation is far greater than the general inflation rate. In the last round of plants, the average overrun was a factor of 3 times its original sales pitch. So nuclear power is just too expensive, and at least 3 times more expensive than current wind technology. For example, wind power has dropped 35 cents per kilowatt hour a few decades ago to about 1/10 of that figure today. There is a real danger here that Congress may approve new subsidies for nuclear power and wipe out funding alternatives. Just like in 1953 and again in 1980, the tremendous costs of building and supplying hundreds of new nuclear plants would exhaust all of our financial resources. We cannot invest in nuclear power again. We must invest our dollars in low-cost renewable energies and energy efficiency. Let's put our money into longer-term solutions. Just think where this nation would be if it had put its resources into wind and solar back in the 1950s. Contact your elected officials and tell them no more money for nuclear energy, that you only want renewable energies and energy efficiency to get any funding. Send them a letter, call them, insist they commit to no more money for nuclear power. Instead, put our money into solar, wind, and energy efficiency. My name is Russell Lowe's, and this has been my commentary.